Blessed ones, greetings to you. We are with you. And indeed, this is a glorious time. When you sit in the desert of time, the desert where there is an absence of reference, the desert where it appears no life blooms, understand that the horizon of the past and the horizon of the future can both look devoid of feature. They can also both look the same. And so many of you may find yourselves at this time in the desert, in the center point, where there are no apparent pathways, where there are no apparent solutions to your perceived dilemmas. And yet what we say to you is that it is at this moment in your human experience that you have the great joy of watching the dawn and the sunset simultaneously. And indeed, this is a theme of our message for you at this time. What happens when you can view the dawn horizon and the sunset horizon simultaneously? Where does that place you in experience? Indeed, where is it in your consciousness? Time, as you have understood it, has been measured in the way that you see one horizon and the way that you see the other. And indeed, the human conceptualization of your journey and your time has been one where you find yourself in the midst of it. Indeed, time would appear to exist beyond you. And depending on where your focus is in any one given moment, it will determine how your view and perception of reality is. However, when the earth enters a new paradigm of existence, when the earth enters a new set of principles and a new series of blueprints for experience, the human consciousness itself must be ready to embrace all possibilities. It must be ready to embrace a new experience of what life can be, new permutations, new directions, new pathways. And indeed, this is only possible for the collective human consciousness if you are not focused in one direction. If you are not focused just on the past or focused just on the future. And indeed, there have been many teachings and learnings and understandings within the awakened human in recent times about existing in the now moment. Because when you exist in the now moment, it unlocks this game of one directional focus. Indeed, when you move into the now moment, you are not looking at the past or the future. You are looking at yourselves. And oftentimes there is a sense of confusion when looking at oneself. There is a sense of I know nothing when you look at oneself. Indeed, if you asked yourself in this moment how you have regarded yourself, if you were to have moments of self-reflection or self-discovery, your view of yourself is incredibly imbued with a perspective of either the past or the future. If we asked you in this moment to regard yourself, it is most likely that you would investigate your own form, your own experience, indeed your own consciousness in relation to your history or perhaps your understanding of your future. And yet we invite you in this conversation to deeply be present with us in who you are in this moment. And if you are clear about embracing that perspective, you experience both the unknowing of a self that is undefined by past or future, but you also begin to see both the past and the future. So you experience the dichotomy, the paradox, the unlocking mechanism for time. If you can experience yourself in the now and simultaneously see both horizons. Thus, the power of the experience in the desert. The unlocking of time and the time cycle that you have understood in your human experience and your human reality is where you are as a planet at this moment. The unlocking in time is a releasing from the continued conditions and blueprints for experience that humanity has been embedded within for the last 340,000 years. We want to be very clear that it is you that has been embedded within it rather than it being embedded within you. And such is the nature of what humans would understand to be programming. If you understand that you have been embedded within it, it brings your attention back to the core of the experience. And the core of the experience is that the power lies within you, for you are at the center point of your reality. In order to release yourselves at this time from experiences that you have had, experiences that you have mastered, experiences that you continue to experience and evolve with, you must understand that a leap is required. Now, the leap is not about a movement from where you are to take you somewhere else. Indeed, the leap is not even about ascending into a different reality. The leap is in bringing your attention from either the past or the future and allowing yourself to see both very clearly. Indeed, this is the unlocking mechanism that you seek. When you can see both horizons very clearly, you suddenly realize that it is you that has the greatest view. It is you that's sitting in the center of time. And blessed ones, we say to you, if you are aware that you are sitting in the center of time, it is you that begins to arrange your reality. It is you that begins to map the experience that is available for humanity. This unlocking is an incredibly important feature vibrationally of your experience in 2021. And an unlocking, as you would understand, can appear to be a very quick mechanism. It can be the slightest and yet most profound movement. Just as when a key is in a lock and it winds itself around, it can appear that there is a long journey. It can appear that there is a lot of resistance. It can appear that the key needs to be exactly the right size and shape for the lock in order to have it even turn. And so the patience that you have experienced and the waiting that you have been experienced and the hoping and dreaming has been in the quest for humanity to become exactly the right form and shape of key in order for the lock to be turned. And yet what we say unto you is that that has nothing to do with your efforts to become more conscious, either as individuals or as a collective, but it has to do with the ability for all points of focus and attention to come to the same keyhole. And indeed, this is what the events and the experiences and the apparent unfolding of human story and history that has occurred in 2020 has been designed to achieve. Is it not so that human attention and consciousness collectively has largely been directed towards one point of conversation? Is it not so that human attention and consciousness collectively has all turned around to begin to move their attention and focus towards the one keyhole? It would appear that there has been what humans would call a pandemic, what humans would call an existence of disease, what humans would call a particular topic of focus that has enabled a collective human consciousness to all move towards one point. And indeed, it is not the value of what the topic of conversation is that is important. It is the space of concentration. It is the reference point on the map of human reality that is important. And we say unto you that human consciousness and attention has arrived at a point whereby multiple facets, billions of facets of light, of consciousness in diversity are all converging towards one topic, towards one reference in space and time, towards one conversation. This experience in 2020 has certainly caught the attention of humanity, whether you believe yourselves to be conscious or not. And so this has brought a spectrum of stream of human experience and consciousness all towards one point, one keyhole, one lock. And blessed ones, we say unto you that with that concentration of magnificent divine light and attention into one small space and reference in time that is 2020, that allows the key to be formed in perfection to unlock the blueprints and potential for sovereignty once again in the human reality. And so what we say to you is that the key is firmly in the lock. All the attention is there. It has happened. 2021 is the experience and the year whereby the lock turns. And what we say unto you is that there are 5 increments of click within that lock. There are 5 increments that will occur for humanity in 2021. And those 5 increments of unlock will be profound in your experience. They are profound because they are the mechanisms for change. The mechanisms for change. Very slight movement. Because remember, the distance to be covered, the movement to occur, the change to occur in terms of effort, in terms of transmutation, in terms of distance traversed, has already happened because the diversity of human consciousness is now sitting in the lock. It is now the slightest movement and adjustment that will occur 5 times in 2021. And it can be feeling very sudden, it can be feeling very spontaneous, and it can be feeling in many ways like an adjustment that feels profound and disruptive in that moment. And yet, each of these 5 clicks, each of these 5 slight movements of the key in a clockwise direction can completely unlock the limitation for human experience that has been encapsulated in your planet for the last 340,000 years. This is not only the unlocking of the original design for the human blueprints, blessed ones, this is the unlocking of the time, the unlocking of time, the unlocking of time. Because time has been your greatest limitation. Time has dictated your view of reality. Time has dictated your view and your perspective. Time is what has enabled you to only look at either the dawn or the dusk and never both simultaneously. When you cannot look at both the dawn and the dusk simultaneously, you cannot know your true existence. When you look at the dawn, all your attention is there. In that moment, you as the viewer disappear. When you look at the dusk, all of your attention is there. And in that moment, you as the viewer disappear. So when you are focused on either the past or the future, in essence, the reality of yourself ceases to exist. Because yourself in that moment is only in relation to history or relation to the future. And that in itself is an illusory concept. You do not truly exist in that form. That is the illusion. That is the Maya of your third and fourth dimensional reality. That you can only exist in relation to the past or the future. So let us discuss this unlocking these 5 mechanisms, these 5 clicks. Just as you would go to a physical therapist and have your spine or your body adjusted, click, 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 click. In that moment, it can seem incredibly disruptive. It can seem incredibly loud. It can seem like a moment of intense discomfort. And yet, when you are standing again, you didn't know what it could feel like to be that vertical. When you are lying on the table, you're horizontal, you're in time. There is an error, there's something to be corrected. When you're vertical, you are straighter than you've ever been. You begin to exist beyond the constraints of third dimensional time. And this is the acceleration experience in consciousness for your planet. This is where humanity begins to access, both through innovation and technology and through in your own awareness of time and space, new innovations and paradigms for experience that will enable humanity to truly flourish and blossom in its true design. So we say unto you that in 2021, there are 5 major clicks in the lock. And what is very important for you to ascertain and to embrace in your knowing is that the journey has already ended. Consciousness is already at its destination in terms of arriving very perfectly fitted in focus into the lock. It is only the collective human consciousness that can turn the key. And once the key is turned 5 times in very small but very powerful movements, the slightest movement but the greatest impact, that's when the door swings open. And so you find yourselves in 2022 in an adjustment period to the new light, the new light, the new light, not only from the North Star, not only from the second sun, but from the flooding of a human consciousness that suddenly has a completely open space to play and create within. Now, you know that when you've been in a dark room for some time, say 340,000 years, that when the door opens and there's all of this bright light, because there's no form in there absorbing the light, it can take some time to adjust and to see. So be very aware that while 2021 is the year of the turning in the lock, sudden disruptive movement that completely shifts human attention, understand that when the door opens towards the end of 2021 and into 2022, 2023, understand that it can be very difficult to see. It can be difficult to see where to go. Suddenly there's no future and no past, and you're left really to try to design your own experience, to try to find new ways of walking and expressing and communicating. But this is a time where there is no intense pressure. Now, humans have understood pressure in terms of time. I have pressure to get this done. I must, at this age, chronological age, now really do something. We must do something before time runs out. We must do something before. And so all of your creations have existed within a paradigm of time pressure based upon this time lock. What you discover in 2022 and 2023 is that suddenly there's no pressure to know where you're going, create things, become innovative, find solutions, because there is no longer a reference for humanity so strongly embedded in a concept of past and future. When you're in a time lock, you're under pressure, rather than a natural unfolding of potential and possibility, which will enable humanity to truly create in a way that has not been seen or experienced or felt for hundreds of thousands of years. This is indeed why this is being referred to as the golden time, the golden time, the golden era, the Renaissance for creation. So you have a lot to look forward to, but understand there will be adjustment required because it is unusual for your sensibility and your thought processes to be existing where there is no time pressure. Adjustment time. Now 2021, crack, 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 crack. The turning of the key in the lock can seem incredibly disruptive, but if you understand that it's not designed to do anything other than to unlock the time loop and open the door of experience, you can be very excited when each one of these adjustments occur, because every time they occur, it's like humanity that has been asleep, that has been in the horizontal timeline continuum, now begins to unlock. And the more you unlock, the taller you feel. The more you unlock, the less rigid you are in your patterns of sleep and awake. The less likely you are to be in routine. The less likely you are to be in schedule. The more likely it is that it will seem that I'm going this way. Oh no, now I'm going this way. Oh no, now I'm going this way. Oh no, now I'm going this way. And that's not just for you on a personal experience. It's the collective experience for humanity. And indeed, you're already beginning to see some of this. The first click indeed has already occurred for 2021. So many of you believed this was the direction we were moving in. Now it seems we're going here. But be aware that this is all in perfect harmony with a new era for humanity. We want to be very clear that what you have seen as dis-ease and illness within this current story of humanity indeed is also in a very effective way bringing all of attention into one place. And where is it bringing it attention to? It's bringing attention ultimately to your physical form. It's bringing attention ultimately to the care and focus of the physicality of the human, not to underlie by any means the fragility of human form, but indeed to bring your attention back to this. Let us go back to our scenario in the desert, where you're standing in the middle of the desert and you're looking at the dawn or you're looking at the dusk. In those moments, your attention is not on yourself. You are not in the now moment, and the now moment is required for you to be able to see both. And when you can see both, you see that they mirror each other. You see that they are indeed one and the same. And that is the moment in which your consciousness is released from the time loop. When you understand that future and past are replications of each other, you have understood that you exist beyond it. This is a very powerful practice for you in 2021. It is wise for you to remind yourselves on a daily basis that you exist regardless of what the past and the future appear to be. Indeed, your sovereignty for existence is available to you through your physical form. We wish to speak about form because your physicality not only is that which makes you available and your consciousness available within this earth reality, but it is also your great opportunity to transcend this reality. And by transcend, we do not mean to leave it. We mean to shift your perspective of it, because it is not about leaving the planet at this time. It is about having a greater view of the planet so that more can be introduced to this earth reality. Indeed, it has been the containment of your earth reality and the containment of what we would call the time lock that has inhibited your natural ability to be able to bring more to this reality, to be able to create more within it. Indeed, if you look at your population growth within this earth reality, you will see that it is the biology of the human that is designed to bring more to the reality, to create more in this reality. That is a natural occurrence. And therefore, it is wise for you to understand that where there is growth in human presence, in human physical presence, it is highly indicative of the growth of human consciousness. Perhaps quite oppositional to what you may have been led to believe, or perhaps that you had naturally believed through the thought systems that you operate within. Let us speak for a moment about this word form and how it relates to what you understand about information. For these are very important themes in 2021: information, transformation, and reformation. Information entails an encapsulation of experience. Information is designed to keep the human in formation, in uniformity, in a particular set and blueprints of experiences. And so be very aware when you look for information, or when you adhere to information, or whether you base what you believe on information, that information has been designed within this time lock experience to create uniformity of thought, and to create uniformity of behavior, and to create uniformity of productivity, which is the antithesis of creation itself. When you look for information, understand that wisdom arises from within you. Information encapsulates wisdom. And we are not interested in the encapsulation of wisdom. Rather, we are interested in wisdom igniting questions rather than prompting answers, because answers as information are designed to contain the experience. A question, we would view, is designed to ignite experience. So it is wise for you to be asking questions rather than seeking answers in 2021. Indeed, the release from the time lock is also a release from the insatiable appetite for information. And it is very likely that you will see a restructuring of information systems within your reality as the human consciousness moves beyond its containment. As information becomes transformation, you understand that there is movement there. The movement is the movement from information to reformation. Transformation is the experience, the bridge experience, the movement from 3D to 5D that humans are currently experiencing. So when you use the words information and transformation, understand that information is designed to keep your thought systems and understanding in uniformity. Transformation is designed to assist you to move beyond uniformity. But ultimately, humanity is moving now into a new era that is principally around reformation. And if you consider the word reformation, you'll consider that the word re is about your own leadership of self, your own sovereignty, your own inherent principles for life. The understanding that all cosmic wisdom arises from you, and no one knows yourself better than yourself. Indeed, no one knows more about your reality than you. And once you understand this, you once again become the creator consciously of your reality. So 2021 is not about transformation. It is ultimately about reformation. The transformation was the gathering of the spectrum of human awareness and consciousness to have a point of focus so that awareness could sit in the keyhole. And reformation is what occurs when the door opens towards November 2021, and suddenly the room is filled with light and you can't see very well. So the reformation at this time is a perfect theme, and one for you to be very aware of throughout 2021, because reformation is where, again, you can only trust your own self. You trust the sovereignty within yourself. You are no longer reliant upon information to have your experience contained. You are no longer going through an experience of personal transformation where all your attention is moving into the keyhole and you're becoming aware of collective communities. Rather, it is now all about your experience. Trusting yourself and believing yourself becomes simpler and far more natural when you cannot see. Because when you cannot see, you learn to stop relying upon information that is designed to contain your experience. And so again, we bring your attention back to the visualization of the desert and 2020, and indeed the first 3 months of 2021, there is a lot of sand blowing around in the desert. Indeed, it may seem as if there is a sandstorm. It can become very difficult to see anything at all. And so you look to the horizons to tell you where you are. And this is when past and future become very blurred. This is where you begin to lose a sense of linear time. And it's also where it becomes very difficult to rely on anything external, and therefore you begin to rely upon yourself, not for survival, but for inspiration. Because you are not in the game of survival, blessed ones. You are in the game of creation. And therefore, your impetus and your focus is not how you will move to survive. It is about how your creations provide movement. A great distinction, and one for you to consider in 2021. So we have some questions at this time. We have a question about the number 5. We understand that humans like their questions about numbers, but understand likewise information, as you have known it, has been designed to contain. Perhaps we can offer you some information that is designed to ignite, therefore reform. We understand all numbers and values of numbers within the cosmic context, rather than your encapsulated earth reality concept, to be igniters for certain sets of experiences, certain themes of experience. And therefore we would say that if 2021 indeed is a number 5 year, that this is highly significant in terms of the 5 clicks in the lock. 5 ignites change. 5, as many would understand, would be very unstable, but in actuality, all numbers are unstable because they are all designed to potentialize experience. The question here is, how are numbers changing in the new energy? We would say that numbers are not changing. It is the way that you understand them that is changing. When you begin to view them as ignition points rather than reference points for possibility, rather than containments for experience, rather than blueprints of reality, you understand that they ignite with particular vibrations. And yet these vibrations can become very open-ended. Very open-ended. And we have a visual experience for you in this moment that we will share to assist you in this understanding. We have this visual representation that our dear friend Deborah DeLisi, as you may know her, has created that is highly indicative of this unlocking, highly indicative of the experience that is unfolding in 2021, the unlocking of time. Now, the number 5, as you have asked us, is not visually represented necessarily so clearly in this visual imprint. However, we would say unto you that the energy of the 5 describes the unlocking experience that allows this to unfold. What you can view here in our understanding, blessed ones, is that enclosed geometry has had a singular point of focus, and that is it contains potentials and blueprints for experience. Therefore, within your earth reality, encapsulated or enclosed geometric forms have been very reliable in carrying, redistributing, and containing information. Agree that they are inform these geometries. Therefore, they carry information. However, numbers such as the 5 that can appear to be very disruptive are not about containment, nor are they about closed system circuits or encapsulated geometry. Indeed, they are about an ignition point that cannot ascertain the design that will eventuate from its sparking. Likewise, with the 5 clicks in the lock, it cannot open a room where the blueprints are already set. It cannot open a room of information. It cannot open an era of humanity that has already been designed. It instead ignites an explosion that allows a multitudinous expression of possibilities, unlike has ever been experienced by humanity, to explode into view. The bright light of the explosion indeed is the bright light that you see when the door is unlocked. This particular image that we are sharing with you is highly indicative of the unlocking mechanism of time that is occurring in 2021. What you can observe also is the expression and the return to the spherical formation of your DNA that exists beyond your current understanding of linear time and karmic experience. And therefore, spheres of reality become more significant. Indeed, the geometry of the sphere becomes more significant within your reality, not for what it contains with information, but for what it ignites with potential. So this image is very important for you, and it also highly indicates the mirror effect. If you look at the bottom of the design, you have the X, the 1, and the X. You have the past, you have the present moment, the now moment, the vertical expression of experience, and you have the future, where future mirrors the past, and it is the vertical axis that allows you to enter a new doorway for reality. Very well. We have some questions. Is there a way for us to let go of all the energetic baggage, including remaining karma, and be here in pure co-creation with Source without having to experience things out of imbalance or as a consequence to a subconscious program? We would say unto you that there is no longer a sense of movement towards divinity or sense of movement away from history, such as you experienced deeply in a personal way during your transformation. Remember, transformation was the journey, the distance traversed when information arrived at the keyhole. Indeed, that keyhole is the interface between the old reality and the new reality. That distance that was traversed, that focus of diversity back into the unification, was the transformation experience that you understood through your understanding of karma. Therefore, once humanity collectively has arrived in the keyhole as it has, indeed, once humanity recognizes itself as the key to the paradigm shift, that transformation experience is no longer required. Therefore, your experience of karma is no longer required. Therefore, the mechanism of movement through karmic cycles is no longer required. We have a question here. What is the timing of the 5 clicks. How are we the key? We would say unto you that the timing is distributed throughout 2021, and we say to you that the first click has already occurred. Now understand that clicks can be incredibly loud depending on where your attention is. If your attention is there in the collective space in anticipation of what comes next, you will feel it reverberate through you. If your attention is on the past or the future, and in terms of your own requirement for transformation, you will feel it less within your own cells. You will feel it less as the trembling within, and you will see it more as movement within your social political landscape. We would say unto you that you are the key because your attention has come to this point of focus. You are the key because it is your presence and your essence of source consciousness that is now creating a new experience. The new experience, however, in 2021 is the unlocking. So many of you, where is the new reality? Where is the new experience? Where is it? Where is it? It's where you are at this moment in the lock, facing each other, being aware of each other, being aware of what you believe all of your attention is on, all there together. Some of you may feel very compressed in that space. Some of you may feel very claustrophobic in that space. We are all here. We are all waiting. But that is the concentration of source consciousness, of human consciousness. That is the great joy of 2021. Never have you all been so aware of each other and yet felt so disparate simultaneously. Here is a question. Will these clicks occur all at once, or will there be a cascade of individual clicks that happen in waves? You will experience them, as we have just suggested, some of you personally within yourself, some of you collectively within your shared external reality. Indeed, the great convergence of Jupiter and Saturn enables humanity during this window of experience to experience individual spheres of reality collectively. And indeed, this is why we said unto you that 2021 was the period of shared experience and amplification. The conjunction in the cosmos allows you to have individual experiences that become collective experiences. Therefore, it can appear either individually to you or externally to you or simultaneously to you, depending on where your attention in that moment is. They do not happen simultaneously, these clicks, not as you would ascertain it during your third dimensional experience of time. However, some of them will be quite rapid in succession, 3 in rapid succession, and then 2 more throughout 2021. Here we have a question. Would the opening of the door be synonymous with the event we've heard of as the compression breakthrough or solar flash? Well, the blinding of the light, the blinding of opening the door and not being able to see because suddenly there's no time pressure. Suddenly there's no time pressure. Suddenly there's nothing to work towards. Suddenly there's no history to repair. For some of you, this will be physically unable to focus, physically with your eyes, unable to see where you're going. For others, it'll be a great sense of relief. A great sense of relief. Indeed, information about the solar flash and the bright white is synonymous with the opening of the time lock. So this is an opening of a time lock. And in our view, it is wise for you not to look for external validation, but feel it within yourself. Therefore, if there is external experience of this unlocking for you as well, you can be in celebration for it and in celebration of it and understand what it is. Again, everything is perspective. Is reformation disruptive to our physicality? and therefore not looking for information rather than allowing the alignment to happen. We would not say that reformation is disruptive to your physicality. We say it is invigorating to your physicality. Indeed, the quest for information can be disruptive to your physicality. It is wise for you to consider in this moment the validity of this statement. Many humans understand that it is the information within your bodies that dictates your physical experience. However, humanity has moved into a version of reality whereby it is external information that is dictating your physical experience. Reformation is the return to sovereignty. Reformation is the return to the source consciousness within you as the one that ignites, the one that, we would not like to use the word dictates, the one that designs the physical experience for you. And so indeed, the shift from information to reformation through the movement of transformation is a shift from external influence of uniformity back to the individual, unique nature of life that is your source consciousness. How is the earth contributing to the changes in 2021? Well, your question to us is in assumption that the earth is a separate entity or form. We would invite you to begin to see the earth reality as an extension of your personal reality. And therefore, we would say unto you that as your own awareness and individual sense of consciousness moves back to reformation, so too does the earth in your experience of it and its appearance, and indeed its apparent functionality. The human consciousness and the earth consciousness are not separated. And indeed, one is a replication or a permutation of the other. So therefore, what expressions and experience of reformation via transformation you experience for yourself, you will also witness and experience for the earth itself. Could you inform when the first turn of the key occurred? It has occurred. That is what we will say to you. We are not interested in giving you a date at this time. According to your linear understanding of time, you are only very, very, very recently into your experience of 2021, and it began with a click. It began with a click. It began with a click. The year began with the click. Remember, click, apparent information, transformation, reformation. How quickly can you find yourself in the space of reformation and take your attention away from the information? What guidance can we call upon if time as a reference point dissipates? Indeed, time is not guidance. Time is limitation that humans have learned to work within. Time pressure. We would say unto you that time of your experience has not been an open-ended linear form. It has been a loop. Even your understanding of time as linear is inaccurate. It has, in essence, been a loop. And therefore, we would suggest to you that the guidance is only going to be arising from yourself in the present moment. You cannot find wisdom at this time that is reliable to your own emergence as a humanity from history or from the future. It can only come from within you, because the space within you is the space that sits beyond the time loop. Indeed, there is a place, a mechanism, an expression, a design within the human DNA sequencing and within the human etheric form that is immune to the time lock. Indeed, it is the only aspect of you that has been immune to the time lock. Therefore, if you want to transcend the limitation of time, transcend the limitations of your history or of your future, you must direct your attention, reformation, back to this aspect of yourself, back to the place within yourself that has been unable to be contained by time. And indeed, the reformation from this place is what enables this message to be expressed in this moment. For this message comes to you from beyond your time-space limitation. Is this what the Mayans were speaking of? Indeed. Indeed. Indeed, indeed, indeed. Where did the Mayans go? Where did the Mayans go? Where did the Mayans go? Perhaps through concentrated focus, they also passed through the doorway. Perhaps they unlocked the door well before your current experience of humanity has. Are the 5 clicks based upon astrological events? We would say unto you that the astrological events can be indicative of the 5 clicks. However, they are more likely to be experienced and felt within the reverberation of your human consciousness. We would say unto you that astrological events point to this unlocking, point to the unlocking. But there is so much available to you in your cosmos that humanity will become aware of once you pass through the keyhole. Changes to other planets, other spheres of reality. Again, it is not so much about changes to the other planets because we are not looking at transformation. We are ultimately looking at reformation. And when humanity moves into reformation and the unlocking occurs, suddenly you have more awareness. You can see, you understand the reality of other planets. You understand the reality of other dimensions. You understand the reality of the space-time fabric. It is only your information that has prevented you from understanding the true nature of yourselves in relation to the cosmos. Where did the Mayans go? They went through the keyhole, blessed one. They went through the keyhole. 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 Indeed, there is a question here about what humans understand to be vaccines. And we have had a number of questions brought to us about what humans believe to be vaccines. We believe that we have addressed your concerns around immunity in this conversation and what immunity is. There is an opportunity in 2021 for humanity to truly understand the true nature of their sovereignty and true nature of themselves. And indeed, what a glorious experience to experience this through a question of immunity. Because what is immunity? Immunity is the ability to exist beyond information. The ability for your bodies to exist regardless of information. Green print, yes. What is a green print? We enjoy this term rather than a blueprint. Or it could be an orange print, or it could be a rainbow print, or it could be a light print. A print is an impression, a reference to an experience. A print is a reference to an experience captured in time. If humans and your physicality have been experiencing life through a print, then you've been experiencing life through something that was captured in time. Would that not lend or pertain to an experience of a time loop or a time lock? That experience, that experience, that experience, that experience, that experience. Indeed, this is what your understanding of information has been. So if your human bodies in actuality are designed to exist beyond information, perhaps the experience for humanity in 2021 will be an experience where you realize that your body is not dictated necessarily by information. The body itself is designed to continually recreate itself. Not just in one form or one pattern, one print that was captured in time, but continually recreate itself. This is where your concept of immortality arises from. Immortality, in essence, is the body's designed to be immune to having repetitive experience, to be immune to externalized information, to be immune to encapsulation of experience. So 2021 is a great opportunity for humanity to discover its natural immunity to information. Should not you as a creator species be designing rather than adhering to blueprints based in another time? Interesting. So your questions about vaccines, we would instead direct you to an anticipation of an awakening within human consciousness of the natural state of creation within the human body. Remember, when the unlocking occurs, it can seem disruptive with the clicks, but once the door swings open, all concerns suddenly appear to exist behind you somewhere. As I understand these adjustments to be affecting us in multiple dimensions, but will they feel coherent through our physical body or rather dissonant? Well, just as when you go and have your spine adjusted with your therapist, in that moment, it can seem as if you're being contorted. It can seem as if it is very unnatural because it is different to how you have been. And yet, when you stand up and you're vertical, suddenly you did not even realize that you were uncomfortable before. You did not realize how awkward you were before you went through your adjustment. You did not realize how you weren't really standing straight before. You did not realize how much pain you were experiencing before you had a relief from it. And so we compare the unlocking experience for humanity in 2021 with multiple adjustments with your therapist. At the time, it feels very disruptive, and yet when it is complete, it will be difficult for you to believe that you ever walked in such discomfort before. Such is the expansion experience from moving beyond a time lock. We have a question here. Are the children coming in early to reformation? Are the children coming in already in reformation, or have all humans entered in reformation then shifted out? We would say that the children at this time are already in reformation. However, they find themselves in a human reality based on transformation. That is why many children at this time would appear to be in a state of dormancy or perhaps unwillingness to participate consciously in solving the apparent problems of humanity. Some of them are very concerned with the problems of humanity because they are already attuned to reformation, and others are not interested at all and may appear somewhat apathetic because they are more interested in the unlocking so that they can then begin to create. What is the significance of your repeating phrases? I feel like you are communicating something experientially. We are communicating certain phrases because they have very powerful and significant vibratory sequences to your understanding. Are we all going to go through the keyhole simultaneously, or are we having our own timing for that? Well, it is a collective experience. And so therefore we say unto you that collectively it can appear to be simultaneous. However, there will be some humans who feel blinded and want to go back and cannot and feel frustrated. There are others who will welcome the ability to not be able to see clearly. Again, individual experience, one collective movement. If print is information, information is past. Why are we looking the 5 clicks to open the door to the new blueprint? Well, we would say unto you that rather than a new blueprint, it is a new canvas upon which designs can be created. We would not assume that the new blueprint has already been created. If the new blueprint has already been created, then perhaps you would see that you are looking at future, therefore you are looking at past, Therefore, you are still in the time lock. This is about moving beyond that which you can already ascertain. Our astral realm experiences part of accessing the information within us. Reformation, as you called it. They have been helping me see beyond the illusion of the 3D reality and discerning what resonates or not. Well, we would say unto you that astral realm is an integral part of your 3D reality experience, and in many ways it allows you to experience a different view of third dimensional reality. However, we would also encourage you to be aware that the answers do not exist within 4D reality. They just give you a different view of 3D reality. It is wise for you to drop into the space of not knowing. It is an interesting place and experience and perspective to explore, but understand that it is also somewhat tethered to an experience of time. Comment. On the 1st of January, I felt an incredible calm inside. It was like being in a calm lake after having been in a tumultuous waterfall. Blessed one, the first click, the first click. How can we help others? At this time, it is really about acknowledging the existence of others within you in that space, in the keyhole. It is not about how you can help them through the keyhole. It is not about how you can help them arrive at the keyhole, because it is wise for you to keep your focus firmly on reformation rather than transformation. So we would encourage you, when you consider others, whether that you consider them to be in peril or whether you consider them to be very expansive in their experience, consider them to be exactly where you are. Consider them to be right next to you. Consider them to be a part of the experience of this concentration of cosmic source awareness through the experience of human consciousness sitting in that keyhole with you. Acknowledge them, feel them, embrace them, see them as right next to you. Because even the ones that you believe are struggling at this time, even the ones that you believe are misguided at this time, even the ones that you believe to be of essence of negativity, or perhaps not as enlightened or as aware as you, perhaps those which you believe to be contributing to problems within your earth reality, see them right next to you in the keyhole. Because when the entire spectrum of human consciousness moves into a space of concentration in the keyhole, you're all there together. And that is why you've become so aware of the disparities within humanity at this time, the disparities, the apparent duality of thought, the apparent duality of belief, the apparent duality of left or right, up or down, black or white, good or evil. You've become so aware of it throughout 2020 and into 2021. Of course you have, because the entire spectrum of human experience and expression is all moving into one point to sit in the keyhole so the key can be turned. And therefore, those which you believe to be not like you, those that you believe to be somewhat unawakened, see them right next to you. See them as part of this unlocking, because their presence is required just as much as your presence is. You see, blessed ones, this is not a movement of only the awakened, more conscious humans that will create this shift into a new era. It is all humans. If you are a human and you are within this earth reality at this time, then you are part of this unlocking, and therefore it is a requirement that all human focus and attention comes together in the tiniest space. So if you wish to assist others, see them right next to you and celebrate that they are there too. That is the wisest view at this time. Can you explain more about how you differentiate between transformation and reformation? Transformation is the movement, the Maya, the distance, the journey between unconsciousness and consciousness, as you have understood it, between information and reformation. Transformation is indeed the awakening. It is when you take the information that you've had and you've changed it into something else. You take what you have understood and you evolve from it. But you always begin with the information that you had. When you go through an experience of transformation, you begin with an imprint, with a set of ideals, with a set of historical reference, and you attempt to improve it or expand upon it or build upon it in some way, develop it in some way. That is why others use the term development of consciousness. We are not interested in that term. When you come to a point of reformation, you come to the end of your journey, you're no longer interested in improving or building upon what you know. In fact, many of you will go through an experience where you want to forget everything you know. You don't know anything anymore. You don't believe anything anymore. You don't even know who you are. You don't know why you're here. You don't know anything. That's the point of reformation, because no longer are you trying to build upon and improve upon and evolve upon a blueprint that is based on a particular time and space. So when you move into the unknown, when you ask the questions, when you assume that you know nothing, that is when reformation begins to become your point and your expression of wisdom. And indeed, that is when a new human era begins to become created in form. Because there will be a new era of information, but it will not be designed to contain. It will be continual reformation, which is indeed the original design of the human. You come back to source and you create something new. You come back to source and you create something new. That is the nature of consciousness. Information is not the nature of consciousness. I have been experiencing an opening in my throat and I could feel my whole body vibrating. Was this the first click? That was how you experienced it in your personal reality. Of course. Now remember, if you're experiencing energy around the throat at this time, it's very important to understand that within this new paradigm that humanity will be opening a door to, consider that when something is expressed, it takes form. It's no longer a reality dictated by thought and belief, that thought and belief creates and maintains form. Remember, if thought and belief creates and maintains form, you keep creating the same things over and over again. If you want something new, understand that your consciousness and your expression of that consciousness creates form. But that is another conversation. What about other beings in this universe? Are they part of human transformation? Well, Blessed One, other beings in this universe are very much a part of the human story and a part of the human essence. Just as you are a point of consciousness here at this time, understand that you are simultaneously holding points of consciousness beyond this time lock. Therefore, you have a presence and an awareness beyond this earth reality. It is not so much about making connection with others beyond this earth reality. It is becoming more aware of yourself beyond this earth reality. That's an exciting prospect. However, we do say that there is a lot of presence at this time from these other aspects of consciousness that are all incredibly celebratory in their ability to observe the opening of the door and the unlocking of the earth reality. The unlocking of the earth reality, the unlocking of the earth reality. Click, 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 click. Very well, Blessed Ones. There is one more question here about currency and how currency within your reality has an opportunity to shift into a new form. We would concur, we would agree, but understand that currency, once the door is opened, is not a focus on exchange of value, but rather a focus on what it can ignite. Currency is energy rather than a system of exchange that is designed to contain. I'm in reformation now. What do I do? Missing direction and don't know what I want to create. Well, you don't. You don't, because the light is so bright. You're in the keyhole. It feels like you can't move. You know change is imminent. Everybody's squashed in there together, or so it would seem. It is not the time to create. How do you know when it's time to create? It's time to create when it emerges naturally from you as spontaneous choice, spontaneous choice, spontaneous choice. Constantly feeling lost and stuck. Well, of course, but understand the 5 clicks that feel incredibly uncomfortable will open the doorway, and then. It is only a moment in time. It is like this. 2020, 2021, 2022, like this. So quick. Enjoy the concentration of your experience at this time. Enjoy the intensity, all of humanity squeezing through one tiny keyhole. How exciting. It's like when you're going to a grand and glorious display or a grand and glorious concert, and all the crowds are gathering outside. They've all journeyed from afar to get there, and they're all squeezing through the doorway to get into the stadium. It's a very exciting time. It's a very exciting time. It's not a time to say, what will I create when I get inside? Because the first thing you want to do when you get inside, Blessed One, is to find a position to be still and then wait to see what is revealed. Wait to see what is revealed. Wait to see what is revealed. So understand that this experience now is not an urgency. Remember, you are so used to being in a time lock experience where there's a sense of time pressure. I must hurry up and do this. I must hurry up and create. I must hurry up and save the planet. I must hurry up and become saved. I must hurry up and advance and ascend. No, that's time lock pressure. Once you've gone through the door and you're in the concert, or once you're in the arena of consciousness, sit back, watch what is revealed to you. We are not in a position in our awareness to reveal what the 5 clicks are, but they will be felt and they will be profound. How they will be transformed into information for your intelligence is another matter entirely. It is wiser for you to feel it within yourself as an uncomfortable adjustment, and then perhaps nod in agreement with a small internal smile. Oh yes, I see that now in my external reality. Oh yes, I see that. And understand that so much is occurring right now. The great reveal, Blessed Ones. This is 2021, 2021. You're claustrophobic and you don't like crowds? Of course you don't. Of course you don't. Why? Because awakened, sensitive humans have been taught that it's about the personal journey. You must go alone. You must go alone. I need space. I need to sit in stillness. I don't need any disruption. And yet the true power of humanity, the true power of your consciousness is what happens when you come together as a collective. It's everything that you've steered away from, but it's actually your greatest potential for change. Exciting times, Blessed One, exciting moments. It is with great joy that we are with you on this day. And it is with great joy that we sit with you, as many sit with you in the keyhole, in anticipation for the slightest clicks, the slightest movements, the greatest effect. May peace be with you, and may you embrace each other as you sit at the cusp of a completely new experience. Oh, okay. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining me. Hopefully you can still see me okay. I just wanted to thank you all for coming, because again, all of us coming into this space is what allows this reformation to occur. I believe that actually that was a fantastic explanation of what channeling is, reformation. So that helps me on a personal level as well. I feel very, like many of you, disorientated throughout the last couple of years. Like many of you, I've had a lot of physical experiences. And I think today was a really good reminder to really trust where we are, trust that if we're still here, it's for a greater version of experience and a great, great opportunity to really have a life where we get to experience more of who and what we are. I know that's what we would all wish for the next generations. And like the generations that came before us, they wished that for us. But at what point do we claim it for ourselves? Because everything's been about passing things on for the next lot. Let's claim it here and now. So once again, thank you so much. Everyone who's registered, you'll get an email in the next 24 hours with the recording. I'll probably put this up on YouTube. I want to get this information out as far and as wide as I can. If you're new to us today and you haven't listened to any of our messages before, please jump on our website. We've got a lot of free content on there. There's lots of articles and transcripts and videos for you to explore. We also have a membership where you get to chat with the masters like this every month and ask questions that might interest you. And we do have some new webinar series. Oh, we're not allowed to call them webinars anymore. Exploration space series coming up. I believe there's going to be one next month. Those of you who are in Perth, we do have an event coming up in Perth here on January the 30th. So thank you very much, everyone. I feel incredibly privileged to be able to be with you in this way. And I'm embracing you all, and I'm feeling incredibly embraced by you too. So have a wonderful day and have a fantastic view of 2021. Big love.